going on? We have the incredible Lena Waithe, Rishi here. Why is it so important now more than ever to tell these stories, especially through the lens of a black woman?
Oh man, I think everything right now is about empowering black women, people who have been invisible, people who have never had the opportunity. And there are a lot of stories out there that still need to be told.
Lena, for you, you've been pushing the culture forward. Been having great conversations about you with my cousin Julian from Slang Inc. Seeing what you're doing, big fan of yours. What is it going to take to greenlight more projects like this?
You know, I think it's really about the whole community within the industry supporting each other, pushing each other, lifting each other up. That's really all I'm doing, is just sort of standing beside folks and being supportive and making sure we're having those conversations. But I think we all can lift each other up. And I think particularly in our industry, within like Black Hollywood, like we really got each other's backs. And I think we continue to show up for each other. We continue to show that. And I think this movie will be no different. You know, we will show up for each other. Tiana, myself, Aven, Rishi, we have so many relationships, so many friends that want to support it, not just because we're involved, but because they want to see more work like this. So that's our hope. It's sort of it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
What do you say to the little black and brown girl and boy who are struggling with thinking if there is a sustainable career for them in arts and entertainment?
I mean, I understand their fear, but my hope is they push through it. And if this is their calling, I want them to be here and walk in it, because it's worth it. It really is. And like, you know, AV's movie is going to touch a lot of people. A lot of people are going to see it. And I think that they're going to be inspired by this movie, and they're going to see that she did it, she could do it, that there's no limit to what they can do.
Lena, Rishi, thank you so much. Love you. Bless you. We have the lovely Miss A.V. Rockwell, writer and director of 1001. We have yet to see something so compelling since Coldest Winter. What was the inspiration behind this amazing movie?
I think there was so much that I was trying to say with this film. I think I did want to honor mother and son relationships, particularly the healing that needs to happen when there is some challenges in that dynamic. I wanted to talk about New York. I think just coming of age in this era and recognizing the ways that it changed, and I mean particularly gentrification and the impact of that on black communities. I felt like we were being erased and pushed out of the city altogether. So I definitely wanted to acknowledge that, especially for Harlem, which means something not only to New Yorkers, but to black identity and heritage and period. And I think to American history as well. I think it's devastating, and it's devastating for people that have been fighting across generations, like my character, for a sense of home, for a sense of stability, and for family, you know. And I think all of those things are so powerful, and you see the beauty of that in the film, but you also see what it means when that's robbed and taken away from people. I think I also wanted to just really honor black women. I think that inner city black women especially are made to feel so misunderstood and invisible in society. And so I really wanted this movie to be my love letter to them. And I really wanted to use Inez's journey as a way to present the question, who really is fighting for black women? I think you see across the movie, she's fighting for everyone else, giving so much of herself to everyone else, but who is giving her that in return? And I really wanted to use this story as a way to showcase how much we want to feel fully loved and not just needed.
What do you say to that young woman who giving birth to a young child, or giving birth to a child at a very young age, who feels that they don't have a way out? The walls are closing in. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. What do you say to that little black and brown girl?
You know, I think there's this wonderful moment in the movie where Inez says to Terri, there's more to life than fucked up beginnings, you know, excuse my French. But I think that resonates to so many people in so many different ways beyond what it means in the context of the film. And that's what I would say to her as well. Like, that's just an obstacle, you know, and I think it's just a test, you know, in many ways. It's like, okay, this is what life has thrown you, but how are you going to rise up for this child? How are you going to rise up for yourself? Because there's so many beautiful examples of how people do. I mean, I think even Tiana, she's talked a lot about her mom and how her mother being a young mom, how she benefited from playing the role of Inez, because it was kind of like stepping into her mom's shoes and seeing all that she had to overcome in so many levels. So I think that it's an obstacle, it's a moment, it's a challenge, but it's not in the end. And if you are that young mom, you're about to embark on a beautiful relationship, because it is such a gift to bring a child into the world. So appreciate and embrace that blessing.
What is, for my last question, the little nugget key to success for the men who are going to watch this movie, who we've gotten a bad rap? The man is not in the household. The man is not present. and you have Will's character who steps up. What do you say to society that has been trying to count out the black and brown man?
I think that, I think there's so many examples of that, of men that do show up, especially here in Harlem. Like, I lived in Harlem for a very long time, and it was such a joy to see that every day, all these fathers and just loving on their kids, loving on their families. And so I think Will is definitely, as Lucky in the movie, he's definitely an example of that. But I think that he also shows, for men that might be a little bit more wavering or might not have great examples, he shows the power of what you can achieve and what you have to gain when you do show up and fully commit to your family. I think there's a lot of beauty in the relationship that he has with Terri, and it's a lot of beauty in what they have as a family, period. I also think that Lucky, as a character, he gives a lot of men permission. Especially like super masculine men, he gives them permission to be loving in all facets. And I think vulnerability, there's power in that as well. And I think he shows that in the movie in some very stunning ways. So I hope that people can take that and feel very fearless in how they love and show up for the people in their life.
Music is a soundtrack to our lives. What song best represents your journey, or what artist best represents your journey up to this point?
Right now it's been Beyonce, the queen. She's been my soundtrack for quite a bit. So that's the wave that I'm on right now. Yeah.
Avi, thank you so much. Congratulations. Continued success to you. God bless. All right, I got one of the stars here, my man Aaron. How does it feel to be on this red carpet tonight?
It feels fun. It feels fun because I get to see everyone.
How old are you, brother?
I'm 7 years old.
7 years old, and you are starring in a major film, and you're in Harlem, New York, Magic Johnson Theater. For the kids who are looking to do what you're doing, what is the best piece of advice that you could give them?
The best piece of advice is to just stay calm and stay focused on the role.
Now, how did you enjoy performing on this movie with the likes of Miss Tiana Taylor? How did it feel?
It felt fun because she was super nice, and she guided me to be focused.
And is there anything that you learned from this film that you're going to take with you as you become a young man?
The thing that I learned is that you just need to stay focused and stay calm and just focus on the role and to just have fun with it too.
You heard it from Aaron. Stay focused, stay calm. Congratulations on your movie, and best of luck to you, young man. I love you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Ms. Reynolds. How you doing? Thank you for being here. I want to say this is just an amazing evening here in Harlem, Magic Johnson Theater. Why is it important to look at this movie through the lens of a black woman talking to a black son now more than ever?
Because, first of all, we always raise the men. We have to raise men. And because of our history, it's unfortunate, but women are just dynamite, and black women beyond dynamite, and the sacrifices they will make to save their families. So, and the importance of doing it here and now in New York is we know how the 80s and 90s decimated our city. I know it because I was here. I grew up here. So it's so important that this film lays it out like that, and how the systems in play can hurt or they can help. And sometimes you just have to make your own decisions.
Women are the backbone and the pillars of our community. What do you say to that little black and brown girl who feels as though they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel? They see no way out. They only see the four corners that they live in, whether it's Harlem, whether it's Spanish Harlem, whether it's Washington Heights. What do you say to that little black and brown girl?
I say, keep the faith. Look for someone that you know, whether it's a teacher, an auntie, an uncle, a grandma. Look for someone that you can hold on to guide you. And it's, we are living in tough times. Culturally, socially, emotionally, spiritually, we're challenged. That's a really interesting question, and I think I'm going to have to think on that a little bit more.
Well, I love everything that you shared, and I gotta say, you look beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing. Miss Reynolds, June Archer here, the Winner Circle. Thank you. What's going on, y'all? We have Mark Gessner here, who plays a really, really sinister character in this movie.
Smiling face of gentrification.
How does this feel to play this role in this movie?
Okay, so that's a two-part answer. It felt pretty gross, also like a massive honor. It felt like I was being trusted by the filmmakers to bring something specific, and so I tried to do that, even though I did not like the character himself. It's not like he's uncommon, and it's not like he doesn't look like me. So I feel like it's important to honor the words like that, and I had a really good time. I also had unbelievable vision and guidance from Aven Rockwell and the rest of the cast, and we just had a tremendous time. It was a true honor to play that character, even though, like I said, I think he's a bit of a dirtbag.
He is, but why is it important to tell stories like this in this day and age?
Oh, I mean, there's no reason, because Black history is American history. Black stories are American stories, and to act as though they are in some way separate is, I think, an insult. And I think it's something that, frankly, folks that look like me slip into a little too often. So I think it's important. I don't just think it's important. I think that it's crucial. I think if we're going to have a culture in this country, the idea that we can do it without the contributions of Black folks and folks of color in general it's a joke.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your contribution to this film. Have a great night tonight. Man, you got it. We have the lovely Miss Terri, who's playing Kim Jones in this amazing film. How's it feel to be walking this black carpet?
Humbling. I'm super grateful.
For all the black and brown girls that are out there, why is it important now more than ever that this story be told?
This story is important to be told because it's not just Inez's story. There are so many people who were impacted in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and even today by systems that were put in place to help people of color and to help people, period. And those systems, I believe, wanted to help, but somehow they failed us. And because of the impact of that failing, those people might have been seen as less than, but they weren't. You know what I mean? Like, their stories are not no less deserving because they weren't in a certain social class, or because they didn't speak a certain way, or because they went to jail. You know what I mean? Like, what you've been through shouldn't define you. They're still human. They're still people. They still deserve compassion and love and empathy. And so I'm really hoping that this story leads to amplification and their voices being amplified, so we get to see more stories like this, because art it's supposed to imitate life, you know? And we shouldn't only see certain types of stories, especially when this is our story. And so I really love that Aven Rockwell took on the challenge. I don't know if it was a challenge for her or not, so I don't want to say that.
Right.
But she wrote from her heart what she saw in her community, and she spoke honestly and vulnerably and truthfully. You know what I mean? Because there are going to be so many people, not just women, but children and men who see this story, and they're going to see themselves. They're going to see their childhood. They're going to see someone that they know, that they love. And so I am excited, and I champion this story because we all know an Inez.
Terri, who are some of the women that inspired you along this journey to get to this point?
My grandmother, my mother, my mentor, who was my 5th grade teacher, Miss Billingsley. I'm going to say my mama name, Johnny May. I'm going to say my grandma name, Shirley.
Hey, Grandma Shirley. Mama Shirley.
She no longer with us, but I had strong black women in my life. You know, they weren't always perfect because life just lives. But they loved me, and they poured into me, and they believed in me, and they gave me a foundation of faith. And also through watching them
figure life out. They told me how to keep fighting and going.
Terri, thank you so much. She plays Kim Jones. She's amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, sister.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. What's going on, y'all? Oh, man, you should have brought the Kangle out. You said you're a B-boy. You're supposed to have that out with the Pumas on. We got John Guiterrez here. Listen, how did it feel playing alongside Teyana Taylor, Will Catlett?
Oh my God! Well, my scenes in the film were all with Teyana Taylor from day one, and it was an incredible feeling. It's always a kind of nervous thing when you're about to do a scene with somebody. You're like, who are you? And then especially when you have to be like so intimate. Like my character Rudy and her character Inez go way back, and Rudy takes her in when she comes out of jail. And so it's like, I come from Washington Heights, and I have some experience with those kinds of themes and those stories. And so for me, I was like, those friends that you go way, way back with, that you'll kind of do whatever comes your way with. And so I'm like, how do you build that? Like right away. And Teyana was incredible. And just within a couple minutes, figuring out that we were both New Yorkers, that she's from Harlem and I grew up on 160th. So I'm just a couple stops away. So there was already this kind of, like, I know you without ever meeting you before type thing. And I feel like that really resonated in the scenes. And I was always just so grateful to have that kind of comfort with somebody, is like that kind of unspeakable language, and I feel that way with everyone that I encountered in the film as well. It's like everybody just had this kind of knowing, this thing that you don't have to explain when you're in their presence, this kind of like, oh yeah, you see me, you like actually see me, or you see something about me, like we family, and that when you have that, it's so rare. And so to feel it, you just kind of ride that energy. And I didn't get to interact with Will much throughout the filming and on set, but Will, when we were at Sundance and premiered the film there, Will was like everybody's papa. Like it's the way, the poise that he carries with him, even the poise that he carries in his style and his outfits. I was just like coming over him and like, yo, how do you do this? How do you do this? I was like, can I call you later? Like, can we talk more? And he was just so open, so warm, and I think really represented the love and the tenderness of that, truthfully, a lot of us lack in our upbringing as male individuals growing up in this country, growing up in this city. And I'm really excited for everybody, for the world to see these two take on these parental personalities. And yeah, it's like I saw my mom up there when I watched this, and I saw the best parts of my dad when I watched this. So.
I was going to ask you that, whether it's Harlem or Washington Heights, how important is this story culturally?
I think one of the most important things for you to feel powerful is to have that power emulated. It's like to see it. And so when I watch this film and sit in that theater and watching this thing happen in front of me, if it was my story in a way, it'd be happening in Spanish. But it's like I was like, yo, this is what we went through. Like I remember that conversation, or I remembered that silence. Because it's like love isn't always just the joy. Love is also the hard silences. Love is the unanswered questions, the not having the answer to the question. And I think that that's something that this movie does beautifully. I think that it's something that this film, what I hope people take away from it is that as they move through it and as they see it, they recognize that their story is powerful and that their experience is important. And because that's something I'm trying to learn from myself, and something that I'm really grateful to Avi Rockwell, who's bringing this, stories like this, and that power to all of us who go through experiences like this.
John, that's so dope. Well, final question for you. Music is the soundtrack to our lives. What artist best represents your journey up to this point?
Oh, man. What artist represents my journey up to this point right now? I mean, I listen to a lot of Kendrick these days, Kendrick Lamar. I think I really love listening to like old school rap. So it's like Rakim is somebody who I really look back on. I'm a really big fan of lyricists. I really love Black Thought right now too, and because I think that I was a little nerdy as a kid, and so I found my power in academics. I found my power in writing creative outlets. Before I knew that, I didn't know what like an artist was. Like I didn't, but I felt like I always felt the need to write something down, or I always thought a little differently than other people. And so in music, I love artists who are kind of breaking the molds or breaking the expectations of how we're supposed to talk or what we're supposed to talk about, even if it's a little taboo. And what are the important messages? It's like KRS-One was talking about this from day one, right? Like he's like, what are they talking about on the streets? That's what music should be about. And I think any artist who's doing that, even Tiana Taylor with like A Rose in Harlem, it's like these songs are classics, and the artists who define us are the ones that are defined by us, defined by the stories that are important for us to tell. So.
John, thank you so much. Good luck. Congratulations. Enjoy the night. Yes, sir. Let's get it. We got Josiah Cross here, who plays Terri. How did it feel to play alongside Miss Tiana Taylor and Will Catlett?
Oh man, it was a pleasure. It was an honor, and I keep landing on the word inspiring. It was inspiring to work with him, man. I've known T for a bit now, and actually us being in this capacity where we're working together was a blessing. And I feel like she hasn't really gotten her flowers the way I feel like she should. And I think this film is going to be a beautiful example of showing that, man.
What is the best example of what it means to be a black man that you got throughout this film?
The best example of being a black man? Oh, man. Resilience, strength. I feel like we go through more than the average person in the world, you know what I mean? And that's deep, a person, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's, from the beginning of the time, that's all we've been asking for, is just to be looked at as a person, a human. And I feel like we go through so much that people, they become numb to what we go through, and they think that this type of strength is just like normal, and it's not. So I feel like this film showcases that.
Josiah, thank you so much. Congratulations, black man. Appreciate you. You see him, he got the joint. I used to be able to fit that back in the day when I wasn't doing my push-ups. How does it feel to be on this black carpet, young man?
It feels great, It's one of my first experience, It's really cool. I feel like it's really welcoming and stuff, and it's just I'm definitely gonna remember it.
Did you ever think that you would get to this point to witness this, to experience this? And if so, who were the people that inspired you along the way?
Definitely, you always got to dream big. I feel like this is something big, I was hoping I'd be able to do when I was younger, I want to be on the red carpet one day, It's probably something I thought when I was younger. But I would definitely say my parents inspired me, It's my big inspiration, my mom and my dad.
All right, who you wearing tonight? What you got here? What you got here?
I got on the jacket, I got on the Jordan 1s, and I got some drip, you know what I mean?
Oh, he got a little drip.
My stylist is Asaki Simon.
There it is, my man. Congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Love you, man. Peace. On y'all, here with my man Aven Courtney, who plays Terri. I want to ask you, young man, why is it important for young men your age to sit in front of this movie to learn the lessons of hardships and what it means to take someone in and give them the best opportunity to be the best versions of themselves?
Because I feel like a lot of people my age and in my generation, they struggle to figure out who they are. And I feel like with Terri, he was still trying to figure out who he was at 14 years old. So I feel like try to figure out who you are. And then once you figure out who you are and what you love to do, stick with it. And like I said, my saying, what my mom tells me all the time, be yourself and never let someone try to, stray you from being yourself. And that's really it.
What is the biggest takeaway that you learned from being in this movie and things that you actually saw happening in this movie?
My takeaway would have to be, the hardships of a mom. Like I never knew what moms have to go through, and it brought my respect level for mothers, because mothers do go through a lot, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much moms go through. You feel me? So I feel like if people I feel like when people watch this movie, they'll understand like everything with what moms have to go through, with kids that have to figure themselves out, and that's really it.
My man, Aven Courtney, congratulations, brother. Have a great night, man. Peace.